What's up, everybody? In today's video, Lindsay and I are going to discuss a very important topic when it comes to improving your trading on a daily basis. We're going to talk about and answer the question, when should you be moving your stop loss as the trade moves in your favor? And we can even touch on, Lindsay, when you should be moving your stop, if you should be moving it at all, when the trade is not working for you. I think we should probably touch on both things. But first, happy holiday. I know you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but for us
Yeah,
here, it's the holiday. So it's a bank
yeah,
holiday. So
happy holidays.
happy bank holiday, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving.
How's your trading week going so far? Slow, well,
Slow, but expected
yeah,
for the
with the
holidays.
holiday. Yep,
So I
yep.
wasn't really have high expectations for this week anyway.
Yep.
But being slow, I've been flat all this week, and probably I'll be flat into next week. But it gives me a kind of reset, refocus to go
Sure.
and hit next week. You know, going into the end of the year, we want to finish strong.
Right. I
And
used
it's
you as a
made me
reference
actually think
yesterday.
about how far you've come in the year. This kind of week, I've been kind of thinking about,
Interesting.
where I've been ending up the year. I kind of start doing that at this kind of time of year anyway.
Sure.
But this has been a big year for me, so I'm trying to, take it all in and see where I've come from. So I've kind of done that this week, and I've kind of slower week.
I think that that's a good thing to start today's video with, because I was actually thinking about that as I was walking to the gym this morning. I was like, I didn't really in 2020 take a detailed list of every goal that I wanted to hit. But I think for 2021, I want to be very deliberate with what right? Because I've seen the success that you and I both had a good 2020, knock on wood, and hopefully, we continue that success.
Yeah.
But I think if I can be more deliberate with my goals, maybe, then I can actually see more growth in 2021. So I think you're spot on, like using this week, especially even next month, right? With not only the bank holidays, but just the holidays in general in December. You can anticipate that it's not going to be like trading in July or June when things are, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're 100% right. But this is why I feel like it's good for us to also put out some of these videos. I group them into this concept of like evergreen videos that just last forever, because someone could watch this in 2022 and this idea will still help them improve their trading by the time they're done watching. So if you guys stay through till the end, you're definitely going to take some value out of this. And do us a favor, just make sure you hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up, because that really is all we ask for in return for giving you guys this information, because it helps us reach more people and spread this value, which is all we're trying to do. So to get into it, we're going to talk about a trade idea from yesterday on Euro USD to give context to what we described as far as moving the stop loss up, because I don't want you guys to just think, oh, well, they're just going to sit here and talk for 30 minutes about moving your stop loss. No, we're going to do some tactics on actually how we are moving the stop loss within the rules of the ASFX system. But before we get into that, I think it's important to talk about where we've come from, because for me, moving my stop loss up and locking trades that start to move in my favor is something that was very, very, not even on my radar when I got into trading. So I wanted to ask you, Lindsay, when you started, were there people talking about risk management at all? And if so, were they talking about mitigating risk and moving your stop loss up as trades
not so
move
much.
forward?
No, I mean, obviously I was always taught about being savvy and putting proper risk on, like, 2% of your overall account or 3% of your overall account.
That's the traditional thing. That's super traditional.
Thing. But I was never taught risk reward, and I was never taught to lock my stop or take partial profits or anything like that. I was taught you set your stop loss, you set your take profit, and you set and forget.
Yep. And I feel like the 2% thing is important to touch on. Now, we have other videos about grading our trades. And if you guys have questions about how much risk percentage for the grades we give, comment below and we can make a separate video about that. But I want to focus on the stop loss today. But you're 100% right. That old mindset, I call it old because I think it's what everybody comes into the business with. This mindset of I'm going to risk 1% or 2% of my capital on every trade. The surface level of that conversation for me always stops when we say, the question, do you really think every trade is the same? So you're quantifying every setup the same by giving it the same risk. And that's just not what trading is. Not every setup is not the same when we talk about probabilities. Some are more probable than others. So you have to be able to grade that. But with the risk management side and reading risk reward, like you said, where did you first hear about the idea of moving your stop loss up as the trade moves for you so that you don't give back profits? When did that idea come into your here at ASFX?
ASFX. Yeah.
Who was it? Do you remember what video I made or who it was talking about it? Where was it? Was it in the
No,
course?
I
Do you
think
remember?
I originally just saw it through your YouTube videos. As
Got
you
it.
know, I said I always stalked you anyway. So I think it was through that I actually picked it up before taking the courses.
Yeah.
But I never actually introduced it until I had gone through the course.
Well, the negative of it and why I don't talk about it a lot, I'm very honest. I don't know. I could sit here and I can figure it out for sure. I'm just busy with other stuff. I don't know the math that goes into the mindset of, okay, I'm risking 20. I can get 60 based on whatever they think they can get 60, which is probably not always the case. And now I'm either going to get stopped out at 20 or I'm going to go get the 60. There's no in between. They don't do anything else. They don't take profits. They don't move the stop. They don't do anything. I think that mindset, hopefully after this video, we can destroy that mindset, because really I'm hoping that I think you, Jerome, the guys that are starting to be here for year 1, year 2, year 3, you guys are starting to see that trading is a game of survival. That's really what it is. So as much as the math can speak to this idea of, you want to leave your stop loss, leave your take profit. If you have a winning strategy, you might lose, but more often than not, you're right. But the market changes. So instead of going at it with this like, oh, I know this has happened because of my testing and I'm going to think that it's going to happen in the future, why would you leave the uncertainty factor still there when you can just be moving your stop loss up and not catching all of every move? That's the big piece that I think you mentioned to me before. One of your coaching calls, you were like going into this conversation with somebody about like they didn't want to move their stop loss because they wanted to get the move. Right. And they were not happy with still making money consistently. Instead, they were trying to get all of every move. Where do you think that comes from? Is that just rooted in a mindset of like lack of abundance? I need the money now kind of thing?
Lack of abundance. Because I think that's when I think they don't drill deep enough to actually know why they're trading, and they're really just coming into trading for the money aspect. As majority of traders come into it for the money. And then they find out that it's not just as easy as that, and then they dwindle away. So I think it's a lack of abundance.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. The problem for me with it was that when I would because where you started, you were probably the trader that did that, right? Where you would do the 1% or 2% on a trade, stop loss goes in, take profit goes in, and you just set and forget it, right? That's the funny thing to say, set and forget, right? How did that work out for you?
It didn't.
Right. I don't know anybody that it works out for.
And again, for me, it was about, that's where the risk reward didn't come in for me, because sometimes my stop loss was actually bigger than my take profit.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
It's cool to hear you say that, because now that was never the case for me, but I know for a lot of people that is the case for them. 100%. They don't.
We were using support and resistance, and it wasn't always equal.
Right.
And then you're adding your spread. I was still adding my spread in at this point.
Sure.
So
you could have a bigger stop loss than no, but
it wasn't like maybe 20 pips added on here. It wasn't as big as that. It was maybe 5 pips.
Right.
It was still bigger on my stop loss than what it was on my take. So 15 on my stop loss and 10 on my take profit.
That's small. That doesn't make any sense. Like, you're 100% right. I probably take for granted the idea of risk management. We probably need to go into that in more detail in other videos, because just understanding risk to reward and how to read that. Yeah. Like that is a big thing. You're right.
What's that called? Like a
turning point, light bulb moment, spark.
Light bulb moment. That's what I meant to say. That was a true light bulb moment for me. And I was like, to Gordon, I've been doing this for 2.5 years, and I've never had risk reward.
Right.
This is my stumble block here.
Yeah. Interesting. So it's good to hear you admit that. I bet people watching can relate to that. So if you can relate to that, comment below so Lindsay and I know to make another video. We'll do it next week. And
people can comment in this, but I'm always curious to know, is that what kind of happens on some swing trades? Because if you're trading on the bigger time frames.
Sure, I do think so. Yes.
I think so.
Yep. And I think it's just, again, I do, with my personality, the way I explain Forex, sometimes I overlook very basic things thinking that people understand it, but a lot of people don't understand risk to reward and how to read that properly just in life. You know what I'm saying? They don't even do it in everyday life, let alone in their trading.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you're not in a business background, like you weren't in a business background before. So it's like, it's not something to be thinking about. No, 100%. So I think we definitely need to touch on that.
And I know a few people that actually I talk to in my Instagram and stuff, and they still go on by pips.
Yeah.
They don't go on risk reward.
Interesting. It just shows the lack of education overall in the space too. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully we can get this message out to other people. But let's get back to the stop loss too, before we switch the screen and I pull up my Euro USD idea. The one other piece of this that I wanted to make sure we touch on is the mindset part of it and I do want to talk about what happens when the trade is not working for you, but we can do that with the charts up. But the mindset part of this is like, if I could go back 5 years ago, the patterns that I'm trading today were still there, still presenting, still fully available. So what was I doing going up 2R? For some people that don't know what 2R means, it's 2 to 1. So if I risk 10, I would go up 20 and not take any profits off the table and not even move my stop loss. Now, the reason that this mindset, I think, has been reinforced to me and I can share it with everybody and we can make these videos, it's because you're actually able to see other successful traders saying the same thing. Two people that come to mind, Peter Brandt and Tom Basso. I was telling you that the Unknown Market Wizards, the new Jack Schwager book, he interviews Peter Brandt, and Peter Brandt talks about the popcorn trade. I think this needs its own video too, because he used to take these trades looking for 5R, 6R, but he'd get 3R and then it'd come back to break even. And after studying that, he saw that these, like they were like, it's like a popcorn kernel, comes up, comes down, and he left money on the table. So that plus my experience, again, trading, and now Tom Basso, who's somebody who I've had conversations with and I've read his books now and learned a lot from him. His thing is enjoy the ride the trend, move your stops up until it stops you out. Then you move on to the next trade. If there's another opportunity, like the markets are never going away. You know what I'm saying? We're not trading a stock to zero, especially in Forex. So you can really ride the wave, like we're going to show on this Euro USD idea, get out, find the next entry, not ride the wave and then come down and give back all the win.
I
That's what you want to prevent.
In the way I was trading before that, you know, the trade could go, and I was on British Pound JPY most of the time. So you know how volatile that pair is, and it could come to like 4 pips of my take
and
profit,
not
and I would
hit it,
and not hit it.
And then you're like, down, oh my God, and then it comes down.
Come back down and take me out.
Yep. I know exactly what I know people watching this can relate to that.
My emotions were all over the place, and I was an emotional wreck watching.
Well, because think about what that's doing.
But you're in no control, really, because you're just sitting there watching it. And really, I should have been away from my charts, maybe, but
But listen, think about that though. It's like you were right in your risk reward, you were right in your idea, you were right in the direction, right in the bias, and because you were either greedy, just blindly following a system that was incorrect or whatever it is, you, instead of taking profits as that trade moves in your favor and locking this, you're now sitting through pain and giving back money that was really yours, in my opinion. It was. A lot of the things that, you know, it always goes back to the saying of profits are never realized until you close the trade. You can be up 7R, but if you come back down to break even, no one is going to care about any of your trade ideas. But when you're me, and this, I know this isn't for you because you just haven't been on social media as much as I have long enough. When you're year 3, year 4, you'll see people will start to come at you and say, why do you close partial profits? Why do you move your stop loss? Why am I still the only one here trading full time, like doing this? You know what I'm saying? It's a mindset of survival and a mindset of the market's going to continue to feed me opportunities. I just want to be here every day to take them little by little, and my little stack of money can grow. You know what I'm saying? So let's flip us over here. I got my, my screen pulled up. Let's do right here. Can you see my screen, Linz?
Yeah.
Cool. I got the red pointer on today too. So I figured that would help us out a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So this is Euro USD from yesterday. I'm just going to set it up. I didn't draw the divergence that kind of triggered this idea. I'm going to show the 15-minute once we show this 1-minute setup. But basically, a lot of people watching this far into the video, I'm going to assume are already in our VIP. So they're going to know that this is a D1 idea. This retest of that 50, that solid entry that we've been really proving well over the last couple of months to add into the D1 was where I sent my markup to the group chat yesterday. You were looking at it. We were all watching it from here, about 1.1894 to move higher. Now, there was a couple of things wrong with it, which is why a lot of people just left it as an idea, didn't jump into it, and that's perfectly fine. But this is a good example, I think, of when I show you what happens, where moving your stop really does come in and save you a lot of money. So here, your initial risk was only 5-6 pips, right? Depending on your spread. Very, very small. So that sets you up for good upside. Now, as you can see, it's a little choppy for the first couple of hours from about 8 o'clock New York time till about 10:30. Then we start to see it break out as we get into the afternoon, and it actually moved higher overnight than it did in the trading session yesterday. So when we get to the Asian session here, it finally starts to pick up and actually move a little bit higher, as you can see, right? End of the Asian session right here. Right as we go into the London session is when it starts to fall off. At its height, if we go to the 15-minute, this trade would have given you just over 8R from the entry point here yesterday. After that chop that we saw, you can see overnight it moves higher. But look what it did today. It came crashing all the way back down to your entry price. So you could have been up 40, 45 pips, risking 5. And if you did not manage this trade properly, you could have given all of that back, all of it. So for what we teach at ASFX, why don't you speak on how you would have managed this trade as it developed into the later part of the night and where you would have moved your stop? And just give me an idea too of where you think you would have exited the trade.
So I would have, I was in at the same entry. It was so funny. Our screenshots were the exact same. So
same. I was in the same
entry as you, with the stop at the same part. And then as that developed quite quick initially, it just kind of popped. So right I would have been taking my partial profits at, this was really a kind of great, it was a C setup. So 1 hour, I would have took half off the table and moved my stop into break even to cover commissions.
So now,
and then
if we shrink this, I'm going to pull this up just to show everybody what you're saying. So from the entry point here, about that 5, 6, we'll give it 6 pips here for that stop. 1R would have been right here. So you're hitting 1R within 4 or 5 minutes. This is very, and this popped very quickly.
It would have been quite hard to take partial profits here. So you've probably got a wee bit more because of the quickness of it.
Right. So you're going to get a little bit more.
Had it automated in,
Right. So at that point, when you're taking profits here, as it moves up 1R for you, are you then putting the stop loss into profit from down here? It goes up to here. So let me make this big. Okay. So stop loss comes up into profit. You're taking some of the trade off here. The trade continues to move higher. 2R, 3R. Are you taking
2R.
Profit at each R?
At each R multiple. So 2R, I would take some more off. 3R, I would take some more off. And at 3R, I would then move my stop up to 1R.
Got it. So at 2R, you're still leaving the stop on C setups at break even. Still just take some profit, give it some space. When it reaches here, that's when you're saying you would have moved the stop to about here, to about 1R, and you would have been tapped out on the rest of the trade here as it pulled back down. I think that makes so much sense. And that's really what has led me and you and a lot of the other people to consistent wins. Really, when was the last time you lost a trade? Like lost?
Oh,
it's been a while.
It's been a while.
At the same time, and as people are going to say, there's no way she's winning. Yes, she is. But at the same time, listen, at the same time, out of all the trades that you're winning, how many of them are you really catching all of the move? Not many of them. You're getting tapped out on a lot of them. You're just not losing. So these small little wins add up. That's what we're trying to get across in this video, everybody. Now, I want to zoom out and give a bigger picture on this too, because some people do manage these trades a little bit differently. So as we always want to try to grow and improve. What I was thinking as I was looking at this, later to this morning and just seeing how it developed on the idea, if there was a way to have left the stop loss at its original position because the risk was so low, you really could have used the 15-minute EMAs, I think, for a really just simple exit. So here, your 8 and 21 EMAs crossed. I'll turn off the 50, turn off the 200, and turn off the 800. So we won't even see that. You just see yellow 8 and red 21 EMAs here. They crossed, which tells us we're in a short-term uptrend. Here, from the entry point, the 8 and 21 EMA never break down until here. So at that,
I still think that's a good signal to have as well.
Yeah.
But do you think, I don't know, sometimes it can, depending on how fast the move can happen, it could come pull back down depending on the volatility.
100%. So that's why this is not the way that I manage it. I do it similar to you because my thought is this. Let's go back for a second and put the EMAs on. The reason we didn't like this trade, one of the reasons was that TDI, but more importantly for me, it was the 50 EMA. You were having to buy it right here underneath the 50,
that's what I didn't like.
having just broken, retested, and fallen to the 200. I thought it could hit the 50 here and come back down with the falling TDI and to reset. I thought it was going to stay between the 50 and the 200. And we've seen that. I've got markups that can happen. So that makes that trade a little bit tougher. So
and there
in a
wasn't,
setup,
there wasn't even any risk reward on the 1 minute. We were right at that 800 entry.
Right. No, you were right. If you were taking the trade, you would have to trade it through the 50. Like that's what you're thinking. There's no way you're closing some there, you know?
No.
So what I would do is the same as you. Because of these things that aren't perfect about it, I would be locking the stop loss very quickly and getting tapped out in profit. But I would then stay focused to look for other entries. This was very choppy. And I think that this was so choppy. Like, look at this. It moved up to high of day and then right back into this range. I think that's because the L50 is near the stationary 50. It's reset. So I just think I would take the trade, get stopped in profit, look for the next good entry. In order to catch this whole move, right, I think you have to just be willing to either take multiple trades or test the idea within our systems of leaving the stop loss at its original position. But the problem with that is that I'm taking losses and I hate losing. I just don't like it. It doesn't do good for me. My mental doesn't handle it well, no matter what. And instead of trying to become a mentally more strong person or whatever somebody would say, I just accept myself. I know myself and I know I hate losing. So why don't I just lock the profits and not lose?
And had, oh no, it was still taken out.
Yeah, you would still get it because this is very choppy. But here's the kicker with this, right? Let's say this is an A setup. Just give us another example. Let's say it's an A setup off the 50. It looks like it's going to move higher, right? That probably would not chop like this. That probably would break out and you would be moving the stop. Like what it makes me think of is, I believe it was EA and you traded it short. It was right here, this trade right there. You traded this short. I did not. This was from like 2 weeks ago. So here in this trade, you took a nice chunk of this all the way down.
This was a 2 candle formation still in the Asia range after the one.
But this is 5R to the bottom. And I'm assuming you got a nice chunk out of this because I know it fell through ADR. If we put ADR on you.
Didn't I take majority? I was out at ADR. I'm right.
Right. ADR was somewhere down here. You can't see it in this markup because it's too many days ago, but it was like right here.
This, I took the rest because I was majority out of the trade by the time it hit ADR.
So for everybody, ADR is average daily range. It's a really logical place to be closing your trades. And even at that point though, Lindsay, like you're managing this trade as it falls, moving the stop, giving it space to hold that 8 EMA, which is what it does, 3.5R. Right. So you're totally safe in this trade, letting it fall for you. And that's what I'm saying. So yes, this Euro USD idea didn't turn into a runner like this, but if you manage it the same way that we're talking about, where you put the stop in profit, some of them you're going to get tagged out and some of them you're going to catch the runner to ADR like you did. Right. And I think that right there, being able to balance.
That's where a lot of people struggle because as I always say, I'm not looking to make the whole move ever. I'm only looking to make the piece of get my piece of what my strategy and my system and my rules tell me.
Right. But by managing it this way, you're allowing yourself to still catch the runner if it runs, but not lose anything if it chops around. So I think it's just about sticking to a solid risk management strategy, which you confidently have now.
Exactly. And when people say to me, Lindsay, how do you not have any emotions in trading? It's because you get to that stage where if I look back to how I was using my stop loss before, that's how my emotions run wild. Because I never felt in control.
Right, because you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down.
Yeah, and watching something nearly hit your take profit and then come back and take you out.
Oh my God, it's like a punch in the gut.
Oh, and so now when I know that I'm in control and I move my stop as my trade progresses, that just takes the emotion out altogether.
Right.
And you're doing the same thing for every trade that you're in.
Right.
Because somebody said to me,
that's what I was going to say.
Your rules change. My rules don't. My exit rules do not change at all. They're just the same for every trade that I take.
But you're really good at the part of this where, like I was saying, the mindset. You've accepted that you're not going to get all of every move. You've accepted that you're just going to take what it gives you. If it runs, great. I'm going to take some of it. If it doesn't, stops me out, I'm still making money. So I think that hopefully is the biggest takeaway from everybody that's watching. If you want to learn how Lindsay and I really do manage these trades, all that information is available in the video courses. There's links in the description to this video. That's all detailed. That's not the purpose of today's video. I wanted to really get across her mindset because I think that acceptance And I actually talked about this in a previous video with Riley, the four, it's not out yet, Lindsay, as we film this, but it will be out by the time this is up. You'll see, you'll like it, because Riley and I talk about that specifically, how you have to accept these 4 truths. And one of them being, you're not going to be in every move for all of it. You're just going to take some of it and be grateful for that.
I just had this conversation with a guy today, and that was exactly him. He's very new to trading, like a few weeks in. Okay. And he's like, how can you wake up in the morning and no moves have happened and you've not been a part of them? I was like, because you can't make your charts 24/7.
Come on, man. Right.
Trying to catch every move. And I think
his nickname should be the money machine. He thinks he's a money machine.
It's just I just feel that's a lack of abundance, is that, you know, the market's always going to give you opportunities, so don't think it's not. And I think 100%. That all comes down to your system as well, you know, not having the confidence within your system to know that it's going to keep producing. So you don't need to be sitting. And
not having clarity on the rules to give you clear things to follow every day, even when you are feeling emotional, you know? And that's why, listen, that's why we're still doing these videos. That's why we're still pushing the courses, because that's what we can help people. Because look, you and I were both the people that didn't understand risk reward. We didn't understand moving our stop loss, but now we have the experience to share with everybody. So hopefully this video and our courses are going to continue to serve people for a long time. The results from our programs are, I think they speak for themselves. So I'm going to put a link to in the description. Lindsay's got a lot of really positive testimonials about people she's coached. They're all on the website. I'll put a link in the description. So if you'd like to, please go read that. Don't take it from us. Listen to how these other traders from all over the world, all different languages, are all saying, I actually can understand how to read a chart. I know what risk reward is now. This is a big thing for me. So I think, like Lindsay said, there are a lot of light bulb moments to have, but I think from my side of things, the first thing to do is accept that you're not going to get all of every move, and you're here to survive and make consistent money, not be the guy that calls the bottom and catches the top. It's not the way to trade. It's about consistent wins and not giving that money back. So this is a good video, Lindsay. This is definitely going to be one people like. Yeah, definitely good. So I'll put all of Lindsay's information in the description, everybody. We really appreciate you being here. Do you have any final thoughts for everybody, Lindsay?
Oh, just get on the right path. That is my mission across my social media, is because I have truly found my edge, and I was a struggling trader for 2.5 years. I just want to help as many people as I can.
Help them get them out of the muck.
Like, somebody reached out to me yesterday and she was like, the same as me, 3 years in her journey, ready to throw in the towel. And I was like, I'm so glad you found me. Let's get you on the right path. Because
you probably hit her with a bunch of voice messages.
Oh, that's my mission though. So I don't care.
I love it. So yeah, everybody, connect with Lindsay on Instagram, connect with her down below. Information wherever you're listening or watching, you can definitely link up with her. We're always here to help everybody, and we appreciate your attention. Like I said, if you found value in the video, just give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed. And if there's any specific questions about risk reward or moving the stop, put them in the comments and we'll definitely get back to you. But Lindsay, thank you as always, everybody, for watching. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Yeah, see you.